morning. Today is June 27, 2022, the last regular session of the Sangguniang Bayan of Santa Ilocos Sur. Before we start with our regular session, I'd like to request everyone to please put on your mask, put your phones in silent mode so as not to disrupt the proceedings of this regular session. This session is called to order. SBM Marino Burgos will lead us in a prayer.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our sins, as we forgive those who sin against us. Give us not to us, but deliver us from evil.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death.
Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit.
As it was in the beginning, is now, and shall be world without end. Amen.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Panunumpa ng katapatan sa tawad ng Pilipinas. Ako ay Pilipino, buong katapatan nanunumpa sa watawat ng Pilipinas at sa bansang kanyang sinasagisa na may dangal, katarungan at kalayaan na pinakikilos ng sambayanang, maka-Diyos, makakalikasan, makatao at makabansa. The Secretary will call the roll.
Honorable Eugene B. Borge,
Present.
Honorable Domingo L. Rito,
Present.
Honorable Belia G. Bello, Honorable Benedicto A. Borgonio,
Present, Madam
Honor-
Secretary.
Honorable Marino S. Burgos,
Present.
Honorable Encarnita B. de la Cueva,
Present.
Honorable Reynold B. Queral, Honorable Clay Benedict P. Formoso,
Present.
Honorable Percival T. Carion,
Present.
Honorable Justin Teya Benyo Melegrito.
Present.
Only Sangguniang Bayan member Reynold Queral is absent. However, we have the required number. We have a quorum. We can proceed with our regular session. First is the reading and approval of the minutes of the previous session. You had ample time to review the minutes of the previous session. If there are any corrections to be made, please say so.
Mr. Presiding Officer, may I have the floor, Mr. Presiding Officer?
SBM Ritwa, you are recognized.
Motion to adopt the minutes of the regular session last June 2022 at 9:17 without correction, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Do I hear a second?
Again, Mr. President.
Motion duly seconded. The motion is approved. Next, we go to the privilege hour. Do we have any member of the Sangguniang Bayan who would like to take the floor to raise a matter of privilege? Sangguniang Bayan member Belia Bello, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Considering that this is my last session with this august body, please allow me to use this privileged hour so that I could also extend my sincere thanks to my colleagues and to our constituencies. To my colleagues in the Sangguniang Bayan, fellow public servants, our Honorable Vice Mayor Attorney Jeremy Jesus J.J. Beno III, who despite all the false accusations from my detractors, he never left me in my darkest days. Instead, he firmly believed to all of my ideals, boosted my morale, encouraged me to take those accusations as challenges, as a source of my strength and courage without losing a heart for our people. I sincerely thank you, sir. To our Honorable Mayor, Jesus Popoy Beno Jr., who gave me the opportunity to work with him and share a common goal for the promotion and development of our townmates, who in return, our townmates gave me their full support trust, and confidence to represent them so that their voices will be heard for an immediate and appropriate action will be addressed to their ordeals and predicament. Before the end of my 3-term service as Lady Legislator, please allow me to convey everyone my sincerest gratitude and impeccable thanks for this privilege of working with all of you. Indeed, it was a great pleasure and privilege to become a part and a parcel of this Sangguniang Bayan. During this tenure, I was able to listen to the griefs of sufferings of our townmates, which oftentimes breaks my heart into pieces. Sometimes I am tormented to their cries and sobs, but all I can do is to sympathize and give minimal amount from my own pocket. A minimal amount in a way uplifts their situations and gave them a sigh of relief. When I took my oath during my first term, commitment and When I took my oath during my first term, commitment and dedication to public service were my weapon and armor to give back to all the magnanimous support I received from our townmates. With my incumbent post, I am sure that I will be able to raise the angst and sentiments of the populace, and the LGU would be aware of their ordeals and would introduce remedies through legal measures in aid of legislation. My first term as member of Sangguniang Bayan was full of memories. The voices of the people were my inspiration to be more vocal, coupled with the hope that I could encourage fellow public servants to share the advocacy of serving the people with utmost dedication. However, with my stern dedication, many accused me for an act which I never did. I was lambasted in social media, coining me as Chika Minute. Even my former peers executed their own affidavit affirming me as Chika Minute based on their own speculations without any concrete evidence to attest hereto. They have pointed fingers at me and pinned me down like I'm on my grave for their own vested interests. These type of people are considered the stealer of facts, the arrogant underlying, and the prisoner of truth. I did not try to negotiate because they are irredeemable. I tried to neutralize their influence by isolating them. As they say, strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. At first, I was devastated and I was shattered into pieces. These acts of some of our townmates gave me frustration. My consolation to myself at that time was to continue my aspirations to serve the people, and these accusations be the reward in the performance of my duties and functions. Then so be it. I would like to reiterate my gratitude to Attorney J.J. Bueno, who was then our mayor, as he never gave up consoling me, for being my mentor, and well as advocates more on mother-son relationship, and had never left me in the darkest days of my life. He never been annoyed by the criticisms kept pouring out of me. I told myself, politics is not my business, as I am accustomed to a simple life as a wife and a dating mother to my children and grandchildren. He was torn between two stones, and yet he believed in me at times of need, always willing to lend an ear and reach out for a hand that would lift my spirit in that situation I am facing. With this issue before, I thought of not joining the politics, as I believe that I could still help other people whether or not I am in the politics. I don't have to be an honorable to serve people. During that time, to my colleagues, I cannot remember any one of them give an assurance to me, or a single word to ease my sufferings. So be it, all by myself. But despite these issues that destroyed my image as a woman, I was convinced to continue my term. Indeed, I was very glad that majority of our townmates clothed me again their trust, which elevated me rank number 4. My experience in my first term as Sangguniang Bayan had honed and enhanced my skill to become stronger, and the people's trust were my inspiration to cope up any challenges and situation I may encounter along the way. It is at this juncture that I would like to thank my townmates who continued to display their magnanimous support and undying love to this humble representation. I have not posed myself as a person to be my own legacy in the shadow of my late father, but somehow I hope I was able to leave a legacy on my own in your hearts, not only as a public servant, but as a friend whom you can run to. My experience in politics as a lone lady legislator for 3 terms encouraged me to become an example to some of our local women in the community so as to become skillful and empowered with intellect and capability in coping up situations they may encounter, and prove our worth in community building, and we are at par with men. May this be my legacy to all women of Santa, as your awareness in community building has been enhanced. Your promotion and advancement was always part of our agenda. To my colleagues in the government, especially in the Sangguniang Bayan, allow me to sincerely thank you for the opportunity of working with you for 3 consecutive terms. I deeply appreciate with warmth or attention you have accorded me. The act of welcoming shared opinions, ideas, and ideals in the attainment of our shared goal of promoting our beloved town in all aspects and make it shine not only in Ilocos but throughout the country and globally as well. To my colleagues, kahit out of order ako, sutil, prangka, very vocal, talaga ako yun. Kaya, but I am a thorough friend. That's what I know. Alam ko for sure na mamimiss nyo ang loto ko. Most of all, thank you for working with our goals for the development of every citizen in our municipality. We have worked to mold our citizen to become a better individual and a responsible citizen to our beloved Santa. It was indeed a pleasure of being a part of our municipality's local political history. Come June 30 would be my last day of working with you, and I thank everyone for all shared moments. Working in this specific field equipped me with skills, capabilities, and intellect which I will treasure. To my townmates, with our politics, I will always be at your side at all times. Thank you for every moment shared with you, and I will cherish them as time goes on. Farewell is not goodbye. Thank you. God bless Santa. God bless us all. Thank you, sir.
That's parang for maalaala mo kaya, Sangguniang Bayan Bella-Bello. And truly, the Sangguniang Bayan of Santa Ilocos Sur will miss you, especially our talks and our fogging sessions. I will not discuss it here, but perhaps some other members of the Sangguniang Bayan already perhaps noticed the very unique relationship I have with Sangguniang Bayan Bella-Bello. Not because she's the only woman or mother in the council, but sometimes I need someone to talk who can freely express their minds without any inhibitions at all. Sometimes if you have an idea, it's better to talk with someone who will not totally agree or immediately agree with what you
are proposing or thinking. You need someone who can polish it, someone who can see the other side of the coin with the hopes of improving it, no, or enhancing the policy or the policy proposal. Karubad da kamet laeng, ano bale, mangigda kalatan og yung iwat ka so umay kami tulat na makikapedya ayan yo. Of course, I'm sure the remaining or the returning Sangguniang Bayans will truly miss you, especially if they will have their seminars or trainings outside of Ilocos Sur. They will not have belya-belyo picking up or buying the pasalubongs for the others. Pero other than that, no, yeah, we won't have, except for the PPSK, no, but we won't have a mother, no, a mother from the ranks of the Sangguniang Bayan. No. Okay. So, we're still at the privileged hour. Do we have any members of the Sangguniang Bayan who would like to take the floor to deliver their privileged speech? Sangguniang Bayan Marino?
Our active and energetic Vice Mayor and Presiding Officer, Attorney Jeremy Jesus de Peralta Bueno III, my dear colleagues in this august body, fellow Santeñans here and abroad, a pleasant and blessed morning to everyone. It hurts to say goodbye, but the time has come for me to yield or relinquish my position as a humble member of this august body. And at this juncture, I would like to express my profound gratitude to all of you, my dear colleagues, to our Vice Mayor and our beloved Mayor, and to all our Centennials here and abroad who have rallied behind and supported me as I traverse the avenue of public service. Iti may kanem amaudi a balikas ni Apa Jesus, iti dayto muna a Biyernes Santo, kinunana iti Ingles. It's finished. Nalpasen natong palen, ket kunakmet ita, my dear colleagues, nga nalpasen natong palkon takem ko, akas nanumo, ang membro di Sangguniang Bayan, ket itiday ti gundaway, ipeksak manen, tagyaman kada kayo, ingungutak akalyak, itaglaplapusanan ngayat, ngayon payo tinumutibiyang, talek ngayon tedyo kanyak, ngayon kawisyo, kabayatan, iti pito at termino, wenno 21 tawen a panagtagem ko kas kaming ti Sangguniang Bayan. Sa gudayan met iti konstitusyon tayo wenno pamungunayan linteg. A public office is a public trust. And public official and employee must at all times serve the people with utmost responsibility, loyalty, integrity, and efficiency. Ket ti panagkita kakadwa, san komit nga ta nga binabayan, inakem komit nga ta nga si papudno, si dadalos kan ti amin nakabilak, iti saad, ngayon kawes dagiti kakailan tayo, tinumutibiyang. Iti onos ti 21 nga tawen na panagtakem ko, kaming ti Sangguniang Bayan, saan apanangital uti bagik, narway met di iti ordinansa ken resolusyones, nga inosponsoran ken inuturan tinumutibiyang apagimbagan ken pagsiyatan, tiili ken dagiti kakalyan tayo apakairamanan dagiti pada nga senior citizen. When panawa ko dahito nga tugaw ko talamin nalpasen ti termino kunada lakayen nila kay Marino ngem ti panagkunak at dati pagsasao nga kunana an antique commands a price of gold. Mabalin nga lima kailaing titawin but panagkitak ti pagi I have not yet outlived my usefulness. Ket adto matibang nga lokali kaguman to pamitlaing the mayor Popoy ken ni Vice Mayor JJ tinanumo kabalan tinumutibang adaklat ta makipaset iti administrasyon da para iti pagsayatan iti ili tayo nga santa. Ngarod kaskunak labingipag tagpakada ti dayto nga gundaway ngem ngamin talaga amalpasen ti termino tinumutibang. Ngarod this is Marino Soria Burgos signing off. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sangguniang Bayan Marino. You will be greatly missed in the Sangguniang Bayan, especially for your guidance in matters of utmost importance. No arak sika ket talaga jay kaiimasanen. Yeah. Talagang anya jay termino na day jay aged. Ket amok nga si Kati Maysa kadagiti katalek ni Mayor Popoy Bueno. Nabayag met iti panagkadkadwayo. Ket adda kalata nga dumawdawatan na iti abiso kadagiti banag nga kahit na met nga aramidan para iti ili tayo. So nakalokat lata ti arwangan na ken iti arwangan tinumutibiyang iti tulong nga kayat mo nga ited kadagiti kakailyan tayo. Uray no awang ka kadagiti nga tiyempo iti serbisyo. So any more privileged speeches from the members of the Sangguniang Bayan? There being none, we proceed then to the first reading and referral to the committees concerned of proposed ordinances, resolutions, communications, petitions, messages, and memorials. First item, Madam Secretary.
A resolution earnestly requesting the Department of Public Works and Highways to cost the concreting of a deep and winding creek or passage located between the boundaries of Barangay Manueva and Cabangaran of Municipality of Santa Ilocos Sur. Authored by Liga ng mga Barangay President Percival T. Carion and SBM Marino S. Burgos.
Okay. We have here a proposed measure. It's a request resolution addressed to the Department of Public Works and Highways for the concreting of a deep and winding creek located at Barangay Manueva and Cabangaran. Authored by the Liga ng Barangay President and Sangguniang Bayan Marino Burgos. The matter shall be referred to the Committee on Infrastructure.
Mr. Presiding Officer.
The Liga ng Barangay President is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Since this is earnest request for resolution, Mr. Presiding Officer, may I move for the immediate approval of this proposed measure, Mr. Presiding Officer?
I second the motion, Mr. Presiding Officer.
This being a mere request resolution and it's been duly seconded by SBM Domingo Ritua. Any other discussion on the matter? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Next.
A resolution earnestly requesting for financial assistance from the Honorable Congresswoman Christine Singson Mihan, 2nd District, Ilocos Sur, for the concreting of a deep and winding creek or passage located between the boundaries of Barangay Manueva and Cabangaran of Municipality of Santa Ilocos Sur.
Okay.
Authored
We have a same request resolution, but this time It's addressed to the Honorable Christine Singson-Mihan of the 2nd District of Ilocos Sur.
Mr. Presiding Officer.
Daligan ng Barangay President is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Again, this is an earnestly requesting financial assistance, Mr. Presiding Officer. May I move for the immediate approval of this proposed measure without passing the second and third reading, Mr.
I second, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Any other discussion?
None, sir.
Hearing none, the motion is approved. Do you have any other, I know it's the last session, but baka may mga biglaang sulat na naman. Do you have any other matters for consideration of the Sangguniang Bayan?
No more, sir.
None? We cannot hear you. Microphone is not working. Okay. We can proceed then to the presentation of committee reports. The first committee report to be rendered by the Committee on Good Governance. Sangguniang Bayan member Marino Burgos. This pertains to the administrative complaint.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Due to lack of material time to tackle this administrative complaint because the prescribed period is still on the first week of July, may I humbly move that this complaint will then be tackled by the incoming Sangguniang Bayan. Much to our regret, we cannot tackle this anymore as we are about to end our term. As a matter of fact, we have already done our obligation in dealing with this administrative complaint. Thank you, Mr. Presiding
Okay.
Officer.
Just to be clear, under the local government code, the respondent needs to file his verified answer within 15 days from receipt of the copy of the administrative complaint.
Yes.
And we're still within the 15-day period of waiting
Yeah,
for
plus 10
the
days. Yes.
waiting for the verified answer of the respondent. So since there's nothing to report and the term of the chairperson of the the chairperson of the Committee on Good Governance will end on the 30th. No, there's nothing to discuss. There's nothing to tackle. So there's now a motion from the good Sangguniang Bayan member for the next committee to tackle and to tackle the said administrative complaint. Hearing no objection to that, the motion is approved. Madam Secretary, kindly take note of the periods. No? So okay pa naman. Kailan yung last day? Okay. So we can proceed. The next can proceed.
15
I believe that the chairperson, the vice chairperson of the Committee on Good Governance is Sangguniang Bayan Baby de la Cueva. And while we wait for the assumption of the next set of Sangguniang Bayan members, and of course, the new set of chairpersons and committee members for the various standing committees, you can proceed as the vice chairperson. You can proceed perhaps with some of the other requirements that we need to fulfill and to the administrative complaint. Okay. Kindly coordinate na lang with the SB Secretary.
Noted, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Next committee report to be presented by the chairperson of the Committee on Environment, Sangguniang Bayan member Benedicto Morguño.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Mr. Presiding Officer, this proposed measure was referred back to the barangay level due to proper legislative process. So we have issued this memo to the barangay and was received by the Punong Barangay of Mabilbilasor on June 22 last week, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Okay.
Then may I move then for to further lay on the table as to the proposed measure, Mr. Presiding Officer.
I second the motion, Mr.
Okay,
Presiding
there's a
Officer.
motion from Sangguniang Bayan member Borgunio to lay on the table the proposed measure I think this pertains to the request resolution of Engineer Castañeda. No. And it was duly seconded by Sangguniang Bayan member Ritua. Any other discussion? Hearing none, the motion is approved. The proposed measure is laid on the table. Next, do we have any other committee reports to be presented today? Hearing none, we can proceed then to our calendar of business. We have no unfinished business. We have no business for the day.
Sir.
Wait, I think there's a mistake. The item number 4, letter A, is not yet for third reading. I think it is the subject of the second reading. Okay. So for second reading, we have one item. This pertains to the proposed measure authored by yours truly, an ordinance realigning the amount of 100,000 pesos for the establishment of an IBP Ilocosur and LGU Santa Legal Aid Program. If there's no objection, I'd like to, since we are now in the second reading of the proposed measure, I would like to suspend the rules on the use of the English language. We may use the Filipino language, the English language, or the Ilocano language, what's more comfortable to use, no? So we can properly and easily discuss the proposed measure. Sangguniang Bayan, Member Borge.
Mr. Presiding Officer, thank you, sir. Today is the second reading of this proposed measure. The table is now open for the deliberation and interpellation. Mr. Presiding Officer, if there's no objection regarding this, Mr. Presiding Officer,
Okay. Before we proceed, since I am the author of the proposed measure, I would like to yield my table and I'd like to join the plenary so I can properly and effectively answer the questions as to the proposed measure, no? So I know it's supposed to be elected by the members of the Sangguniang Bayan, but allow me to just give the honor of temporarily presiding our session to, last time I gave it to Sangguniang Bayan Marino Burgos, but this time I will give it to Sangguniang Bayan member Belia Bello.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer, for giving me this opportunity to sit in your table.
Okay.
We are now in the third reading.
Second.
Reading, an ordinance realigning the amount of 100,000 pesos for the establishment of an IBP Ilocosur and LGU Santa Legal Aid Program. Before we proceed for the interpellation, may I ask the proponent to discuss and explain about this ordinance before questioning?
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Allow me to read the contents of the proposed measure. An ordinance realigning the amount of 100,000 pesos for the establishment of an IBP Ilocosur and LGU Santa Legal Aid Program. Whereas under Republic Act 9406, the Public Attorney's Office, or PAO, is the principal law office of the government
in extending free legal assistance to indigent persons in criminal, civil, labor, administrative, and other quasi-judicial cases. Whereas in instances of conflict of interest or when an indigent client is not qualified as clientele of the PAO, the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, or IBP, may extend free legal services to the poor and indigents who cannot avail of the services of the PAO. Whereas Honorable Michael Aguinaldo, the former chairperson of the Commission on Audit, clarified in his letter to the IBP that agreements between LGUs and the IBP and its chapters to provide legal assistance to the poor or indigent constituents were not covered by the prohibitions in the COA Circular Number 98-002. Whereas Section 36 of RA 7160 allows local government units to provide assistance, financial or otherwise, to peoples and non-governmental organizations for economic, socially oriented, environmental, or cultural projects. Whereas the passage of this ordinance would provide the necessary financial assistance to the IBP Ilocos Sur to effectively enable them to provide free legal assistance to qualified indigent Santanians who cannot avail of the services of the PAO. It can also fund the various IBP Ilocos Sur's conduct of legal fora, seminars, and community legal clinics in the municipality. And whereas the immediate passage of this ordinance is in line with the duty of the LGU Santa in prioritizing the needs of the underprivileged Santanians. Tapno nalawag lang apo. Pau iti mabalin nga mga representa kadagiti indigent wano dagiti napapanglaw nga adda problema da iti legal. Wano kasapulan da iti abogado nga mga representar kanya da iti korte. Adda dayjay makunkuna nga indigency test wano merit test iti Pau tapno makita da no mabalinda nga irepresentar ti maysa nga umasasideg kanyada. So no adda met dagi kanito nga adda conflict of interest nga makunan, adda conflict. Example ko ni Sanggunian Eugene kani Sanggunian Doming imbaga tayo nga indigent da nga duwa ngem imuno na nga imasideg ni Sanggunian Eugene itipaw nga nagpa-assistar ket na desisyonan dan nga irepresentar dan ni Sanggunian Eugene. Ni Sanggunian Doming met no apan isu na tipaw gaputa igigamanen tipaw ni Sanggunian Eugene adda conflict no irepresentar damet ni Sanggunian Doming. So no kadagijay nga okasyon awanen wano marigatan dagiti napapanglaw nga agbirok iti representasyon. Ngam addamet dati programa iti Integrated Bar of the Philippines, ya. Ngamangted da iti legal assistance, free legal assistance kadagiti kasapulan. Ti problema laeng idi imununa, ya. Kabarbaro lang datoy nga programa iti IBP datoy panagserek iti Memorandum of Agreement wano partnership agreements kadagiti LGUs. Tangamin adda dagiti interpretasyon da iti circular iti COA the 98-002 nga mangibagbaga nga haan nga mabaling nga okay. The circular number 98-002 iti COA iparparit na ngamin dijay kadagiti local government units nag-hire iti private lawyers. Yeah. In klaro datoy ni Chairperson Michael Aguinaldo iti COA nga dayjay circular haan nga mairaman dijay ti partnership iti IBP with LGUs apay. Ngamin no adda partnership iti IBP ken iti LGUs kasla kumasanta ken IBP Ilocos Sur haan nga LGU Santa iti kliyente iti IBP Ilocos Sur. Ngem ket di dagiti indigent nga client Santanians nga haan nga mabaling nga irepresentaren iti PAO no adda conflict of interest iti PAO wenno adda hangapin masaday merit test wenno indigency test iti PAO nya. So dijay nga mabaling nga sumrek iti IBP Ilocos Sur nya.
ket day ited nga financial ited nga financial support iti LGU Santa nga 100,000. This is to, of course, gumastos mat iti IBP iti papel, print, ink, ya, at damat dagi sumagmamano nga bayadan jay kliyente, wano dagi abogado, iti panagbiyahe da, manipod ijay opisina da, apan iti korkorte. So day jay nga sumrek
Minimal.
pakausaran day jay LGU Legal Assistance Fund. Malaksid kan iti data, no adda dagiti pakasapulan nga training ti barbarangay kuma, kasla kuma ti Alternative Dispute Resolution ti barbarangay, iti training iti lupon, wano training iti kababaihan iti Safe Spaces Act, wano dagi VAUSI. Mabaling nga imbitaran tayo dagiti kakabsat tayo iti IBP Ilocosur nga eksperto kadagita nga topiko nga umay mang training nga mangted iti forum seminar kadagiti agkasapulan dito ili tayo ya. Dakkel nga tulong data. Ya, dakkel nga tulong data. Tapno umuna makatulong tayo mati kakabsat tayo iti Public Attorney's Office ta adagiti sumagmamano nga personalidad nga at atakyaranda iti PAW. No mo dala ko maitirigat iti PAW niya 24/7 dedicated nga trabahadores tayo dagita kakadwa tayo iti public service. Ket very unfair mat nga kasjay. So babaen iti panagserrek iti may nga katulagan iti LGU Santa with IBP Ilocosur. Makatulong tayo nga masigurado iti access dagiti awan kabailan na nga santenyan nga makaala iti napintas ken pudno nga representasyon no kasapulan da. Yeah. So dayjay iti panaka-purpose na daytoy nga ordinansa ket nailawlawag kometen kahit kung nga isa no datoy launen ti proposed ordinance tayo. No the question apo mabalin tayo nga i-raise dagiti nga question kalpasan nga basaek dayjay nga section 1 no provision. Section 1 short title. This ordinance shall be known and may be referred to as the LGU Santa Legal Assistance Fund. No one question apo jay section 1 apan naknaroden iti section 2. Section 2 declaration of policy. The LGU Santa recognizes its statutory role in promoting the establishment and operation of people's and non-governmental organizations to become active partners in promoting and enhancing the well-being of the people. This ordinance affirms the duty of the LGU Santa to ensure and support the improvement of public morals, enhancement of economic prosperity and social justice, and maintenance of peace and order of all Santanians by guaranteeing sufficient support for their access to free legal assistance and representation. No one question apo iti section 2. Isarunok nga roden iti section 3. Section 3. Realignment of funds. The amount of 100,000 pesos from the unexpended funds under the other MOOE of the Office of the Sangguniang Bayan is hereby realigned to fund the LGU Santa Legal Assistance Fund. The succeeding annual funding for this program shall be automatically appropriated from the Municipal Internal Revenue Allotment Share, provided that the release and transfer of the succeeding funds shall be made after compliance with the COA audit requirements. At kayat tayo apo ngay klaro kanyi section 3. No awan nga ron tikete nga damagan di section 3, isarunok nga ron apo iti section 4. Use of fund, panakausar ti pondo. The LGU Santa Legal Assistance Fund can only be disbursed in the provision of free legal aid to the poor and or indigent constituents of the municipality of Santa Ilocosur, subject to the merit test of the IBP Free Legal Aid Program. The LGU Santa Legal Assistance Fund can also be utilized to fund legal seminars, workshops, or trainings to be conducted within the territorial jurisdiction of the municipality of Santa Ilocos Sur. Ulit, i-highlight ko lang po, line 44. Line 44 to section 4, subject to the merit test of the IBP Free Legal Aid Program. Hana nga kahit nga sa UN, no, haan nga na-accommodate, ti may nga santinyan itipaw, automatic nga awaten isudan iti IBP. At damit merit test, apo. Ikitaan pa yung muna natin IBP, no talaga nga qualified nga agbalin met nga client niya tabak adda kami nagibduma nga kaso bagate malaing nga hanga mabaling nga igaman iti IBP Free Legal Clinic. Okay, section 5, authority to enter into agreement dahito iti panangted tayon iti otoridad kani Apo Mayor nga sumrek iti maysa nga memorandum of agreement with IBP Ilocos Sur. This will remove the requirement of a separate resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a MOA with the IBP Ilocos Sur. Section 5, authority to enter into agreement. The local chief executive is hereby authorized by the Sangguniang Bayan of Santa Ilocos Sur to enter into a memorandum of agreement with the IBP Ilocos Sur for the full implementation of this program. No, one question, ma'am, iti section 5, pantay nga ro din iti section 6, reportorial requirement. Dato'y katatapno sumurot tayo matlaeng, jay requirement ti audit, dagiti pundo nga i-transfer tayo iti IBP. So nga nakikabil ito'y section 6, the IBP Ilocos Sur shall render a regular reporting of the utilization of the fund, including any findings and recommendations that may improve the partnership. Of course, since we are starting, perhaps this would be the first IBP LGU partnership of its kind in perhaps Region 1. We want to further enhance and improve the program, and we can only do that if the IBP, our partner, will submit their recommendations or observations to further improve or enhance the program. Of course, Section 7 is the repealing clause. Section 8 is the separability clause. And lastly, Section 9 is the effectivity clause. No, ada nga ro question, rekomendasyon, may panggap kanda ito yung ordinansa apo, sisasagananak nga mangawat ken mangsungbat kadagita.
Since the proponent of this draft ordinance explained well this draft ordinance is very useful to our constituents, may I ask the body if they have a clarification or verification of this draft ordinance?
Madam Presiding Officer.
You recognize Sangguniang Bayan from Rancho.
Thank you, Madam. I just would like to ask the good Vice Mayor if the ordinance will be exclusive for Santainians only. Mr. Presiding Officer.
Yes. Yes, Madam Presiding Officer. The program, of course, will be exclusively for Santainians. No? I highlight, of course, if we're going to refer, no, kitaan tayo, jay Section 4, use of fund. Inkabil tayo pa jay line 46 to 48. No, dagi conduct iti trainings ket masapol nga within the territorial jurisdiction laeng iti Santa. So kas met jay lines 42 to 44 may panggap iti legal representation Santainians laeng. Yeah. And of course, gaputi partner tayo is IBP Ilocos Sur. I believe that their representation would probably for Santainians with cases within Ilocos Sur lang natamet. At baka ano, adda dagi jay, adda kaso na Manila, wano ko akit narigat niya, makamumot iti, adamot discretion ditan iti IBP Ilocos Sur, di legal aid office, no, akseptaren na kita ngem definitely within Ilocos Sur lang ata. So kas yemet daputa datoy pundo tayo ket pundo ti LGU Santa hanmet nga kas jay kadakkel niya iti pundo tayo tapno akomador tayo ti tagasabali nga ili. But of course I'm a member of the IBP Ilocos Sur, but of course I will not be tapping on the fund. I already shared a copy of the proposed ordinance to Mayor Joseph Valdez of Santa Lucia for their consideration also. So if other municipalities would like to adopt the same ordinance, it would be very helpful, no? For their own citizens, for their own residents. And this will perhaps would enable the IBP Ilocos Sur to engage in more community legal aid programs. No? So just imagine 34 LGUs in Ilocos Sur?
Yes.
34. Oh, just assume na lang 34 LGUs in Ilocos Sur, then each LGU will set aside 50,000 pesos. So that's a substantial fund to really implement significant legal aid programs in all the municipalities and cities of Ilocos Sur. And this will help, no? Yung PAO, this will help the courts declog their dockets, no? Aglalo man kanya kahit ko talaga the alternative dispute resolution. So that's one of our next targets to enhance and improve the lupon ti barangay. Tapno no kaya met lang masimpa iti barangay level, no need nga umulin ti kaskaso. Going back kanya question ni ko ni Sanggunian Clay para santalaing.
Are you satisfied, Sangguniang Formoso?
No, at the amendment po, nakita, tapno ko lang, concern, may express the title na jay kwa, jay pudno nga kahit na nga launen na ito ordinansa, kaya't kung kabalbaliwan to, dahi titulo na, tapno hanga nakafocus the realignment. Later on, the title to, perhaps I can do this. But perhaps I can do this now. Ang kung urayan ng third reading an amendment on the title of the proposed measure, an ordinance establishing the LGU Santa Legal Assistance Fund.
Maybe
Yeah,
we can amend the...
We can amend the title on the third reading.
Third reading,
But just for the secretary to take note of this, I intend to amend the title to an ordinance establishing the LGU Santa Legal Assistance Fund, appropriating funds therefore, tapos yung tuloy-tuloy na, providing the guidelines, etc. Monto na yan. No, dapat kahit nga sa Lutsuden, when no inayon, dagiti kakadwate ti Sangguniang Bayan, apo?
Mr. Presiding Officer, Madam Presiding Officer, may
I
I have the floor?
recognize Sangguniang Brito.
It's only a point of clarification, Madam. Sir Vice, no, ti may isang kasapulan, Vice, mano ka iti maited kenkwan, Vice, dajay.
Haan nga financial assistance nga maited? When haan nga sagsagay sa tapno maikat na yan, napindas nga indamag mo na yung Sangguniang Doming niya. No once nga in-transfer ti LGU Santan, dahil 100,000 nga pondo with the IBP, haan awan kanya tayo yung kontrolen niya, ada kanya dan. No kasanood nga usaren to support and sustain the IBP Free Legal Aid Program. Haan nga dayjay no adda tagasanta nga adda problema na tiligal, tapos ag-expectar nga makaawat iti 5,000 pesos nga legal assistance fund. Haan nga kasjay Sangguniang Doming. Ipaima tayo dahil ito'y kwarta, italag tayo iti IBP Ilocos Sur, tano masapul da iti sanga gasot nga box iti bond paper tapno da usaranda nga pagprint kadagiti petisyon uno ko sungbat nga isubmitar dagiti kliyente da nga taga Santa adda usarenda. Wenno adda dagiti mapotocopy, adda dagiti masapol nga ipadala nga dokumento, dagiti ti pangichargean iti IBP Ilocosur. Uno in kaso, apan damang training iti linteg iti bawal bastos, no? Bawal bastos act, jay barangay Rizal Kuma. Ket adda tallo nga abogado nga gapu ti IBP Ilocosur. Dahil di pa nagpa-training da Rizal, mabaling nga may charge di jay di IBP fund tayon. Yeah? So dahil di pa kausaran na. Haan nga dahil jay the usual nga assistance fund ti LGU nga individual nga i-receive. So haan nga kasjaya po. Yam na pintas sa indamag na ni Sanggunyan Doming tapno malawagan iti amin-amin.
Any more question?
Madam Presiding Officer.
If there's no more question
Madam.
about... Ay, yes,
Madam
ang
President.
ganyang Borge.
Sir, kailangan pa ba no agpatulong do di IBP? Sir, kailangan pala endorsement ti LGU?
Haanin. No needed. No di pa nag-screen dan iti additional ko nga minedyan an additional layer nga mang parigat pa ilaeng uno mang delay. Aglalo ko mano hamet amin ya ng inkaso at mesa nga taga Santa nga bagatay nga hanga makabasa. Ket adda naawat na kuma. Kana mo naawatan ni nabasanan. Tapos napanitipaw ibagatay yung haan nga mabaling i-representar ti Pau ta di bangir nga partido ket i-representar dan ket in kaso na damag na nga adda IBP Legal Clinic ket napanisuna ket no napanisuna ko madi IBP Clinic ket nakita da nga tatanga aldaw iti last day iti masapol nga panang sungbat na ket no i-require tayo nga masapol nga endorse pa lang ti LGU madelay nya. So, ipaited tayo latan, italag tayo latan iti IBP, hanabalit at iti IBP, grupo mo't iti abogado, imposible nga handa nga surutan dahil guidelines to, yeah. Of course, this no diyak kamali, dito yung Region 1, dito ito umuno na nga programa. And sigurado nakmat nga kayat nga taraknen, iti partner tayo IBP Ilocosur dito nga programa atap no may showcase nga effective ti kastoy nga partnership iti IBP with local government units. So ikatantay day nga layeren nya tapno umuna haan nga mapoliticize may kadwa haan nga ma-delay day panang asikaso jay legal nga kasapulan jay may nga taga Santa.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, yang Borgoño.
thank you, Madam Chairman. Just a follow-up, DJ question ni the good Sanggunyan Borge. Who will screen to determine the client is indigent, Madam Chairman?
Okay. Automatic ngamin apo Sanggunyan Benny nga dagiti umasidag iti Pau adda datoy alalaen da nga sertifikasyon iti barbarangay nya apo certificate of indigency. So no surutan ta datoy ordinansa tayo definitely nga umununang asikgan dagiti taga Santa is Pau. Ket no apan da iti Pau adda datoy bitbit da nga katibayan nga isuda ket indigent. Ket no in kaso handa nga na-acceptar, definitely bitbit danto pa lang dahil nga certification da nung apan dahil IBP. Ken addamet aramidan ti IBP nga panang screen no talagang sumrek nga mabaling nga kliyente iti IBP dagiti umasidag kanyada. So awan problema ken dahil panang prove nga indigent na isudan no adda dahil papel met laing nga gigaman ti taga Santa. Yeah. The details, I think, nagrigat met nga unaak, I'm not privy to, of course, some of the guidelines since I'm not an officer of the IBP Ilocosur. So I'm not privy to the specific conditions iti IBP Legal Aid Clinic, especially to Ilocosur. Ngem, mabaling nga trataren ton kan pagpapatangan before nga sumrek iti may isang memorandum of agreement ni Apo Mayor with IBP Ilocosur. What's important is the Sangguniang Bayan will approve the creation of the establishment of the LGU Santa Legal Assistance Fund and approve the realignment of 100,000 from the other MOOE to fund the LGU Santa Assistance Fund.
Madam Presiding Officer, please.
Yes, Sangguniang de la Cueva.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Just a clarification, Attorney Vice. The J funding na, sir, the J 100,000 initial funding tay tata by next nga mangited tay tumanin the same amount tumanin, sir, or dadagdagan pa po natin?
Andan to, of course, always andan to latay di discretion iti Sangguniang Bayan. And we have to consider the next budget cycle numanong pa lang itinabatbati di pondo ti LGU Santa with the IBP Ilocosur. No adan to pala gudwa baka 50,000 to laingen wano mano di inayon tayo. And of course, we also have to consider that come 2023, the internal revenue allotment share of all local government units in the Philippines will be greatly reduced. No? The substantial reduction in the era. However, that based from our initial computation, that will not affect the major programs of Santa. But if we create, again, had we created more positions before, after the, dito yung pagsarak ti 2022, 2022. Had we created more positions, talagang dakkel ti epekto na kanya tayo ti 2023 kuma. But since I'm happy that a lot the department heads who lobbied for the creation respected the recommendation of yours truly, all social health and education project will not be that affected by the sudden reduction of funds come 2023. So, kasi met na ito'y IBP fund tayo. IBP fund tayo.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer.
Mr. Presiding Officer.
Yes, ABC, carry on.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Just a point of clarification, Mr. Presiding Officer. If there is a requirement of this availing of this legal aid program, Mr. Presiding Officer.
As to the specific requirements, number one is the lang certificate of indigency or residency, to prove that they are Santanians. And again, as I mentioned a while ago, the specific details can be discussed before the mayor enters into a memorandum of agreement with the IBP. So perhaps to just settle the doubts of the members of the Sangguniang Bayan, I'm willing to insert a new section here. Section 6. So I'll move. I would like to insert Section 6. Section 6, implementing rules and regulations. The Office of the Mayor, in consultation with the municipal accountant and the IBP Ilocos Sur shall formulate the implementing rules and regulations for the full and proper implementation of this program. So, if they will, if we give authority to the Office of the Mayor to formulate the IRR, so they can discuss the inclusion of the requirements, no, to be submitted to the IBP. But again, I will recommend the removal of the the requirement that the LGU needs to endorse. So as long as the Santenian has that required document to prove that he is an indigent and a resident of Santa, then that would suffice as a requirement to be acknowledged or to be accepted by the IBP legal office. And of course, we need to coordinate this with the IBP, no? That's why I included the inclusion of the IBP here. We cannot impose our own rules, no, as to the selection of clients, no,
Clients.
that the IBP legal aid is willing to represent. So we have to coordinate the IRR with the IBP. So since there's an insertion of Section 6, the succeeding, the original Section 6, 7, 8, 9 will be renumbered as Section 7, Section 8, Section 9, and Section 10.
No more question? No, awanti questionen, nangagantayo mat nga nalawag ken nabatad ti pa naki-explicar dito nga draft nga ordinansa para iti pagsayaatan ti kalyantay nga santa is dawatek nga rod ti kapanunutan dagiti Sangguniang Bayan no anya ti makunada.
Madam Presiding Officer, if there are no more questions, no one ti damaginen, when kahit nga iklaron, dagiti miyembro ti Sangguniang Bayan, may papanikan na ito nga ordinansa, I move that the proposed measure be approved in its second reading and calendared for its third and final reading.
The motion is approved.
Thank you very much, Madam Presiding Officer.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sangguniang Bayan Member Belia Bello. So at least, no, nakaupo ka dito. Sige. We are done with the second reading of the proposed measure. Do we have any announcements from the members of the Sangguniang Bayan? Sangguniang Bayan Member Burgos, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. May I bring before the attention of this body the request of our OSCA head, Dr. Salvador Der, that his present honorarium be increased. His present honorarium is 6,000, Mr. Presiding Officer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sangguniang Bayan Member Marino. The request of our OSCA President will be considered by the new set of Sangguniang Bayan members. And of course, we will be closely coordinating this request with the Office of the Mayor. And I cannot answer for the municipal mayor. If there are sufficient funds from the OM or other sources, then perhaps we can recommend the proper increase, no? But I believe that incoming Sangguniang Bayan member Purisima Billones discussed during our previous trainings, online seminars, that she plans to, I don't know if this will include the OSCA, but for other NGOs and special bodies, she will recommend the reorganization since perhaps you observed that as to the other NGOs, there's no significant progress or developments. No? But of course, this we have to discuss with Sangguniang Bayan member Billones. No? And we can do that after we discuss the day of our regular session. Shall we continue with Monday, or can we move it to another hour, a different day? So, okay. But noted na dyan imbaga ni Sangguniang Marino, may panggap dyan stipends or honoraria ti OSCA. Any other announcements or manifestations from the members of the Sangguniang Bayan?
Mr. Presiding Officer,
Sangguniang Bayan member De La Cueva?
just would like to ask if we're going to Vitalis tomorrow, Mr. Presiding Officer. And if so, may we request for our transportation, the SB van, Mr. Presiding Officer?
I have to double check as to the invitation. Kasi I personally haven't received
Yes.
an invitation for an oath taking in Vitalis. None.
Okay.
So I don't know if only the office of the mayor or only the mayor was invited. If there's no invitation to us, then no worries. We have our oath taking on the 30th.
Okay, sir.
And I actually already took my oath. So I already by June 30 noon, I'm qualified to assume my office. I don't.
What about us?
So we have to double check with the OM if there's an invitation forwarded to the office of the vice mayor and of course the office of to the office of the Sangguniang Bayan and the incoming Sangguniang Bayan members.
Thank you, sir. Sir,
Thank you.
one thing more.
Yes.
This will be our last session with our graduating with my Honorable Bello and Honorable Marino Burgos. Pasensya, sir, I'm very emotional. Just would like to thank them for the years that we were servants of our constituents. The mother of the council, Manang Belia, she's not only a colleague, but she's also a sister to me, my second sister. And to our veteran councilor, as we always tell to our constituents during our campaign, our veterano konsehal, they are naging part of our local government unit for how many years, Mr. Presiding Officer? Before I end up my 9 years in the service, Uncle Marino is with us, and so with Manang Belia, and a comebacking councilor, nag-comeback man tinumuti biyangin, Mr. Presiding Officer, na danim kumanidan. I just would like to, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for the years that we were together as servants of the people. Thank you, Manang Belia, for everything. Adita halat tahanayon, whatever it may cause. And also to my uncle, to Uncle Marino Burgos. I consider him as my second father. Adong pieces of advice itited na, ipapain natin mo tibya. Thank you, Uncle. We will surely miss you, all of you. And a counselor will always be a counselor. Dahay man ti serbisyo when no awan. Enjoy your retirement years. You deserve all the best in life. Anang Belia and Uncle Marino. Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Mr. Presiding Officer, just a small message.
Okay. Sangguniang Bayan Member Borgonyo, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Our warm greetings and felicitations to our graduating colleagues, and congratulations for the job well done. Thank you for taking time, knowledge, and wisdom you shared, and to be at our best to have a great impact in our future endeavors. Our best wishes in all your future engagements. We hope you don't mind to lend a hand in times of our flaws and shortcomings. Truly, we will miss your services. God bless us all.
Kasla tayo mo lang nga kikita amin na kinabasit ti ili tayo, kikita tayo latta. Pero that's true. No, na sa malilat tamot ajay experience tayo dito niya, kaurek kakadwa tayo, nagkasakitan kami pa itinakim kani Sangguniang Marino, kasakitan kami pa itinakim kani Sangguniang Belia. Yung matadaw niya ang kumalipatang experience talaga, kadakil tinasursurok niya, so nga siming petak basit niya. But of course, it's not the end. No? Kasi na kung natatay ni Sangguniang Belia Belio, makatulong lata. Uray no nalpasen ti termino na Kasangguniang Bayan, mamatiak si dadaan lata isuna. Si dadaan lata isuda. Nga tumulong kada tayo, kan kadagiti kakailyan tayo dito sa salita. Okay. So, do you have any more announcements from the members of the Sangguniang Bayan? No, it's very unfortunate that we were experiencing some electrical issues in our building. Just minutes before we started our last regular session, I don't know if it's a sabotage, no? But our electric meter suddenly exploded and burned. That's why we're currently, as you can see, we're currently using electric fans and it's quite dim inside the Sangguniang Bayan Hall. But it's okay. At least fresh air tayo ngayon. But I think it's nice to end your term in the Sangguniang Bayan Hall where you started your terms as members of the Sangguniang Bayan. So, just imagine our Sangguniang Bayan Hall, no, was not occupied by the Sangguniang Bayan for 6 years since 2018 because the OM had to renovate. So they transferred here and of course the SB transferred to the second floor of the Balay Taripato. And then after the renovation, COVID came and we permitted the use of the Sangguniang Bayan Hall and the Office of the Vice Mayor as additional COVID quarantine areas. So, nonetheless, we're still here and we have the rest of the Sangguniang Bayan saying their goodbyes to Sangguniang Bayan Belia Belio and Sangguniang Bayan Marino Burgos. It would have been nicer if Sangguniang Bayan Reynold Queral was also here. But hopefully, on June 30, we will see everyone on our, of course, farewell event. No, it's not a farewell. Send-off party. Send-off party at 6 p.m. No, the location is already indicated in the invitations. Okay, announcement. Tomorrow, I don't know if we will. I think you have a copy of the invitation, but tomorrow, June 28, 5 p.m. is the Daycare Workers Week celebration. So everyone is invited to attend the Daycare Workers Week celebration. So, any more announcements? If there are no more announcements, allow me for the last time, no? If there are no more announcements and there is no objection from the members of the Sangguniang Bayan, I would like to declare this last regular session of the Sangguniang Bayan of Santa Ilocos Sur 2019-2022 finally adjourned. Thank you very much. Happy graduation.